Hi! So in this week we are going to learn now something from the Paula method, an Israeli method invented by Paula, mainly to help herself first, as she was in a condition that was deteriorating and there was no hope from the point of view of medicine. So this is about self-healing through movement, natural movement. And in a way it will be kind of weird because it is so different from what we use in our daily life. It will not be weird to a baby, and maybe not even to a small child, but the older we go, we lose our contact, our natural contact with the natural movement, with movement that comes from the body itself, that movements that is not something that we try to do, we want to do, we were taught to do, we think it is good to do, but that just comes naturally from the body itself in order to heal itself and to develop itself. Any baby is doing a movement which he'll never learn from anybody. And that movement is a major factor in his own developmental process. And we kind of lose it by the way that we are being brought up. The first time we are told, don't do that, this is dangerous, not now, and so on and so forth. And so our culture and the habits we are building around it, the environment we live in, they all kind of change our natural way of moving to a more cultured way of moving. And this is taking a step back, allowing the body to do its own movement in order to heal itself without our consciousness understanding or knowing ahead of time how it's going to help us. It's not like physiotherapy, it's not like training that we know that, oh, we want to make one muscle stronger, so we work it out. No, it's different, and we don't really know ahead of time how it's going to heal us. We just have to trust the intelligence of the body that knows how to bring us up to become adults, but it also knows how to heal us and how to develop us just through natural movement. So how do we start to find our natural movement? Well, I will not tell you the story about Paula. You can find her book, The Secrets of the Ring Muscles, and read about her story and how she started to find her way in it. I will teach you right away what we call the triggers to make the body work again in the natural way. And the triggers are starting points in the body where from we start to do something like a contraction and release, or an opening, which is also a contraction but of the opposite muscles, and release, and the movement between opening and closing. And opening and closing is the most natural movement, the most basic movement of breathing, opening and closing. And so it's quite natural that this will be in the seed of the natural movement. But the secret, which is the name of her book, the secret of the ring muscles, is that our body is working, when it is working harmoniously, it is working as a unit, as a one unit, and never just one part of it will work alone. For instance, tell a small child to contract his eyes forcefully, with all his force. He will never just do the eyes, he will contract his whole body. And that's the natural way to do it. Because when we help with other muscles, we get more power to where we want, but also in a harmonious way that allows us to continue to do whatever we wanted to do for a longer time. And if we only did the balls of the eyelids and the contractions of just the eyes, they will get tired very quickly if it's just themselves, and they might even hurt. So let's take this exercise, this trigger, as our starting point, and we'll move from there. So I could start right now like this. You see, my body is responding immediately to any trigger. So, of course, to contraction of the eyes. Note that the trigger, as I say it now, it's just to contract the eyes and let go. I'm not talking about opening, which is another movement, not now. So just contract and release. And I also take a little bit more time in the release than in the contraction. Contract and release. And as I said before, the main thing is not what I'm doing with my eyes. The main thing is how much I allow the rest of my body to respond to it. So you see many things are contracting or moving, and that might look weird to a beginner. But if you do feel the urge to do things like that, you should allow it. It's all about that. It's allowing the natural movement without thinking, without knowing, without understanding, just kind of playing, just like a child. And then I'll continue to do it while lying down on the mattress. It doesn't matter. If you for instance, find it difficult to lie down, that's fine to start sitting on a chair or sitting like this. However, in whatever position you are, it's always possible to do the Paula method, but it's easiest to start learning it lying down on the mattress, just because that position might allow more movements in the rest of the body to happen. So let's continue when I'm lying down. I don't know how much you can see the contraction in the eyes. It's not important, because in the end, it's even not important that you see much. It's important that you just do for yourselves the contraction of the eyes and then letting go. And I'm noting that, I might have done it a bit too strong, so that it starts a little bit to hurt. And then I remember that the first thing I tell my clients is, do not push on your eyes when you contract. Think about the upper and the lower eyelids meeting in the middle and releasing. Yeah, just like I'm doing with my fingers, which is also a reaction, but it's also by itself that could have been a trigger. Yeah. And just notice that it's been a while since I've done this trigger, and how nicely it is treating my whole body. I'm feeling it in my back. I'm feeling how it already affected my breathing. Many times these triggers are affecting the breathing in a good way. Put it like into kind of more order, more harmonious way. So when you do it for yourselves, without looking at what I'm doing, you might hear me and not look, just do. Note what's happening in your body. What is reacting to this, to the trigger, to the say, hey, contract your eyes and then release, let go. So about all these questions of for how long should I contract it, or how strong should I contract it? And I have no answers now. Right now, as we just begin, I give no directions like that. How do you want to do it? How is your body doing it? How does it want it to do? So there is no right or wrong. There is how your body wants to respond. And go with it. And it should change. For instance, if I did too strong in the beginning, then, suddenly I notice it and I don't want to hurt myself. I never hurt myself with this. So it changed already. Now other parts of my body are responding more, and the eyelids are contracting a bit less. No pain. And many different, and as I said, might be felt like weird or looked like weird movements are happening in my body. I see my shoulders wants a lot to move. And the movements, you don't have to analyze them. You don't have to understand why are you doing this or that. Doesn't matter. We're not supposed to intelligence that is in my consciousness. It's intelligence that is in my body. And after doing it, if I'm very interested, I might understand. Why did he do it like that? Why that was the order, or why anything? But that's just an analysis that might come afterwards, not beforehand. So the speed can change, the energy, amount of energy can change, can become quicker or the opposite, slower to each one of us. It might want to work differently, just allow it. Now my body really wants to do the opposite for some reason, so I go with it. I will change now the trigger. Though I could keep it with the same trigger and allowing it, but that might be too confusing for you. So what did I do now? Look at my hands. I'm opening the hands. So it's a opening movement and release. And with my hands goes my eyes as well, but the trigger now is my hands. They were the ones that wanted to start this new trigger. So I go from there, opening my hands and release. Opening and release. Opening and release. Note, my toes are working as well. Many other things are working. My body is kind of spreading out. My eyes are opening. My whole back is stretched. But it might be different in your body. And however it is, just allow it to be. Now let's take this trigger to the eyes again. So it will be opening my eyes and release. What is release? Opening my eyes and release. So in releasing, I allow my eyelid to fall back, fall down. So it's closing or almost closing. And then I open again.
for me right now, I find it interesting, or my body want to look also. I open my eyes, but also look outside. And you see that my arms and hands also came into it. And it's opening and it's really kind of reaching out to the world, looking at the world, almost want to touch the outside. Now, let's do another trigger, which is just put the palms of the hands on the eyes. So I just cover the eyes and give them the option of relaxation. The eyes, it's better that they are closed, but it's not a must. It's of course much more relaxing if they are closed. And if they are closed, note, is it dark or do you have colors that you see? And note that, well, if you were looking at what I'm doing, my head started doing funny things. He's kind of moving from side to side. So again here, it's a trigger. Hands on the eyes is a trigger, and we go with it however the body wants to react to this trigger. And this trigger is very special. It's maybe the one that Paula liked the best, because it dictates the least. Well, yes, the hands are on the eyes, but that's one of the sayings is that it's to minimize the outside how you call it, outside triggers, outside, yeah. So the attention goes more inside, into the body, and what the body really wants to do. Nothing comes from the outside. Other explanations about this exercise are that the connection between the palms of the hands and the balls of the eyes is very special, very unique. Of course, for relaxation of the eyes, and there is more to it, but I will not go into it now. And just allow my body to do whatever it wants with my hands on the eyes. So now you hear me doing all these noises. They are part of the natural movement. And now I do allow my hands to go out. Especially I can allow one hand to go out and then the other one is cupping the two eyes. So they're still closed, and I still see darkness. Yeah. But it allows more freedom to the rest of the body. And then I will take out the other hand as well, just to allow the full freedom of the natural movement of the body, whatever the body wants to do. And note that this body, my body, it wants to roll from side to side, which is something we already learned when we did some releasing exercises for the lower back, for the back, middle back. And there is also an element of stretch in it, and it's just whatever my body needs now. Oh. Now I'm just finding my eyes wanting to refill themselves. So right now I went back to the first trigger with the balls of the eyes or the eyelids contracting and releasing a little bit. Now there are much quicker, shorter contractions. And they are awakening other parts of my body, especially the pelvic floor. It's all contracting with it, contracting and releasing, all very kind of soft manner, soft way, not a lot of force, but again, with you, everything might be different, but do allow the contraction of the eyes, like we've done in the beginning. See how your body wants to do it now. And then we'll just end this first session again with the palms of the hands on the eyes. So again, more relaxation to the eyes. Still the body can move if it wants to move it yet, and maybe it doesn't want to move anymore. That's okay also. My body is doing small movements in the pelvis, in the lower back. And I'm almost ready to come back to the sitting position. Still my eyes are closed, want to be closed. I can do a little bit of the contraction of the eyes in sitting. Yeah. That awakens again even stronger the front sphincter, which is the front of the pelvic floor, which we'll come to in next sessions. And yeah, here I'm ready now. Now I feel quite awake, quite fresh. And we'll end this session. I'll just remind you, when you do it by yourself, in the beginning you can hear what I'm explaining, just that you get the ideas, that we get the understanding. But in the end, we met today maybe three so-called exercises, but they're really just triggers. So it was contraction and release of the eyes, contraction, release. And then it was kind of the opposite, opening of the hands and release. Opening of the hands and release. From that, we went into opening the eyes and release, which is almost the same, because the one is triggering the other. Then we did the covering of the eyes. And of course, always with any trigger, we allow the body to respond naturally. And to some of you, that might take some time. What does it mean to allow the body to respond naturally? Just do it. Just do it listening to me. You can sometimes just look how I did it and then do it again for yourselves. And if your body is responding easily, just go with it, however it goes. Stop yourself and enjoy. And see you in the next lesson.